On Saturday, the 7th of July, Pope Francis visited Bari, southern Italy, for an ecumenical prayer meeting for peace in the Middle East. Surrounded by nature in the ancient city of Jericho stands the Orthodox monastery of Deir Hajla, which welcomes faithful from all over the world. Summer and vacation time, a period of great movement in the holy places and also on the coast, such as in Jaffa. The Basilica of the Dormition in Jerusalem is home to a series of icons and paintings by abbot Bernard Alter, the community's superior, who spent most of his life painting them. The singer Soussa Krikorian stands out in the interpretation of the music she inherited from the Armenian culture. Pope Francis met the patriarchs of Middle Eastern Christian churches in Bari, southern Italy, on a day of prayer and reflection on the dramatic situation in the Middle East. Prayer, that is the most important thing. He invites us to pray that this meeting bring fruit of understanding and peace for our poor suffering brothers and sisters. He is also prophetic, because with this gesture he is drawing the attention of the whole world to these brothers. He is calling all the faithful and those who have responsibilities in the world to take decisions in favor of dialogue and peace. Among those present was the Apostolic Administrator of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, Monsignor Pierbattista Pizzaballa. The purpose of this meeting is to take stock of the situation and better coordinate the life of different Christian communities which belong to different churches. The Middle East has always known the richness of pluriformity in the Christian world, which today needs to show greater unity, especially in light of the challenges facing us. Today we pray together to implore the Lord for the peace that the powerful of the earth have not yet found. Among the main moments, the prayer before the relics of St. Nicholas, much revered by the Eastern churches, followed by a private meeting of dialogue. At the end of the meeting, the Holy Father delivered a final speech on the square of the Basilica of St. Nicholas, underlying how both he and the patriarchs felt the need to live this day with mind and heart turned to the Middle East, crossroads of civilizations and cradle of the great monotheistic religions. Mentioning the situation in Syria, the Pope once again condemned the war, asserting that violence is always fueled by weapons. You cannot raise your voice to talk about peace while you secretly pursue unbridled arms races. This is an extremely important responsibility which weighs on the conscience of nations, particularly the most powerful ones. On the same occasion, the Pope prayed in a special way for the Holy City. May the cry of the psalmist resound. May peace reign among you, among your suffering brothers and sisters and all the peoples and beliefs, especially for Jerusalem, holy city loved by God and wounded by men. In his speech, the Pope firmly advocated and promoted that Jerusalem is a city for all peoples, unique and sacred for Christian, Jews and Muslims of the whole world. Its identity and vocation must be preserved beyond the various disputes and tensions, and its status quo demands to be respected as decided by the international community and repeatedly requested by the Christian communities in the Holy Land. He added that only a negotiated solution between Israelis and Palestinians, firmly advocated and promoted by the community of nations, could lead to a stable and lasting peace and guarantee the coexistence of two states for two peoples. The Pope has always been very close to the Christians of the Middle East. He has taken many initiatives which have a common thread, a common characteristic, being separate from politics and interceding, praying, expressing closeness, solidarity, charity and prayer. One of the most symbolic moments was when Pope Francis and the patriarch freed a white dove, invoking peace out loud.
في ملكوتك اذكرني يا رب متى أتيت في ملكوتك.
West of the Jordan River, St. Gerasimos established in 455 AD a monastery named after him, next to Malawon, which includes a small chapel and a cave where, according to tradition, the Holy Family is believed to have sought shelter. In 617 AD, Deir Malawon and Deir San Gerasimo became a single monastery known as Deir Hajla. A guardian of the monastery for 40 years, the Greek Orthodox monk Christosomos stresses the spiritual importance of the place, recalling the experience of Jesus Christ in the desert. Monasticism, he said, and dedication to prayer, isolation and spiritual meditation are the fundamental principles of this monastery. The renovations carried out over the past 4 decades, thanks to the help of the monks, turned it into a paradise in which sanctity is intertwined with natural treasures.
Visiting this place, it's a very ancient place, and I'm really glad that the God gave me the opportunity to visit this monastery, which is very close to God in every sense. And I think that the people who built this monastery really acting as the people who gave them God the order to do so.
A monastery adorned with many icons and surrounded by nature, where flags fly on behalf of the countries of origin of the pilgrims who visit the place. In the cave where the Holy Family is believed to have sought shelter on their flight to Egypt, escaping King Herod, a painting representing the Mother of God welcomes pilgrims who have come to meditate and obtain special blessings.
إذا عيروكم واضطهدوكم وقالوا عليكم كل كلمة سوء من أجلي كاذبين.
During the feast of St. Gerasimos, celebrated on the 4th of March, many faithful go on pilgrimage to pray and ask for his intercession with this song. You who heal the sick and the souls of those who beseech you in faith, be our intercessor. Glory is given to him who gave you power and crowned you with glory.
المجد للآب والابن والروح القدس الآن وكل آن وإلى دهر الداهرين. Amen.
Temperatures already exceed 30 degrees. The presence of tourists and locals who choose to spend their summer holidays in the Holy Land is also remarkable. One of the destinations is Jaffa, an ancient city that has been part of Tel Aviv since 1950. An area with a considerable number of beaches and visitors, which preserves stories and renowned national treasures. There is a seaport that is considered the oldest in the world. Here, the cedar timber of Lebanon used in the construction of the temple at the time of Solomon and Zerubbabel was landed.
And it has been very, very fantastic, the experience. The religious sides have been very emotionally overwhelming in some ways, and the people have been really nice, friendly, and we've had nothing but a really, really enjoyable, great time wherever we went.
One of the most visited places is St. Peter's Church in Jaffa, built between 1888 and 1894 on medieval ruins.
We have a lot of pilgrims coming from China, and then we have, of course, coming from Indonesia. Those are the two countries with more pilgrims. And then the Americans, the English speakers, and then the Europeans. Of course, you have the Brazilians and from South America.
Bible narratives from the Old and New Testaments are attributed to this place, one of which can be found in the Acts of the Apostles. In Simon the tanner's house, Peter had the vision of the animals wrapped in a sheet lowered from the sky. According to tradition, the city still protects this house, and the vision was represented in the picture that can be admired in St. Peter's Church.
It was my first time in the Holy Land, and I must admit, on behalf of everyone gathered here, that it was a totally stunning experience, because every single one of us really went through this Holy Land in the footsteps of Jesus. We firmly believe that all the events of our salvation took place here, and that we are just followers of the same road towards heaven. Although we start from the earth, we know where our end point is.
Walking through the charming streets of Jaffa's Old Town takes you on a journey back in time, and you can also enjoy a breathtaking view. All favourable elements for a good summer, and at the same time to contemplate God's creation. The Benedictine Abbey of the Dormition on Mount Zion in Jerusalem, the place where, according to tradition, the Virgin Mary fell asleep in the Lord, is a popular destination for both pilgrims and the local faithful. The Basilica is remarkable for its simplicity and beauty, rich in mosaics and icons. Here, Abbot Bernhard Alter spent most of his life writing or restoring icons.
Ich bin von 18 Jahren gekommen. Ich habe Glück gehabt, einen guten Meister.
I have been living in the Holy Land for 18 years. I had the privilege of learning the art of icon writing thanks to the work of a Russian Orthodox priest, Archimandrite Zenun. I have always worked following his style.
Malte ich in dem Stil von seiner Schule.
In his studio, Father Bernhard still preserves the first tools he used to write icons together with the natural colours he collected in different countries of the world. In every painting there is a desire to express hymns and prayers, so as to make each piece a true work of blessed art.
Ikone ist eine Art der Verkündigung.
I see the icons as an art to be preached. I am inspired by God. My work truly reflects the teaching of the Holy Bible and the proclamation of the Word. From an artistic point of view, I compare icons to the birth of a child. Icons must radiate vitality. When I paint, I feel like I'm praying.
Es sind manchmal Probleme, nicht nur technische, aber manchmal die Benediktiner haben im Laufe der Jahrhunderte die heilige Bücher
The Benedictine monks are known for their knowledge of painting, and I have also embarked on the same path. I was able, thanks to the human nature of Jesus Christ, to perceive him, touch him, and represent him in icons.
Weitergeben, die frohe Nachricht, dass Gott unter uns ist. Der unbeschreibbare Gott kann man beschreiben mit der Hilfe der Farbe.
Abbot Bernhard donated his artistic talents to the community, long hours of meditation and prayer to paint episodes of the Holy Scriptures on icons. Many Armenians, like other peoples, have been forced to leave their lands. They protect their popular heritage in Jerusalem by handing it down from generation to generation in the areas where they settled after the diaspora. Among these, the Holy Land. Soussa Krikorian is a marvelous interpreter of Armenian music. She grew up near the convent of St. James in the Old City, where she developed her artistic talent. Today, she performs melodies sung by her ancestors over the centuries.
الموسيقى الأرمنية إنه التراثية في عنا إنه الكلاسيكية وفي كمان إنه عنا الفولك سونجز يعني.
There are two types of ancient Armenian music, classical and traditional. There is also another type composed by Father Gomidas, a priest who used to travel from one village to another and who wrote musical scores performed at weddings, parties and masses.
بغنوا في الأعراس أو لما في حفلات في إنه خطبة هو لحاله كان إنه هيك يعني إنه بسمع إنه ورا الشجرة وبكتب النوتات.
During the performance, Krikorian played Armenian songs that expressed nostalgia for the country from which her grandparents were deported. This kind of music reflects the loyalty of her ancestors and the pain that has been perpetuated for more than a century.
من الأغاني اللي غنيته اللي هو كان إنه أول أغنية اللي اسمها Gligelian.
Among the songs I sang today, Gligelian tells the story of the ancient kingdom affiliated with modern Turkey. Its inhabitants are still experiencing many difficulties. There the churches were looted, the crosses and the headstones engraved with the prayers destroyed. Through the song, my question is, when will the day come when I can return to Gligelian in an atmosphere of freedom?
عشان أشوف إنه جليجيا تاعنا إنه فريم يعني من كل المشاكل وراح يعني أعود على بلادي.
We commemorate the anniversary of the Armenian pogrom and that of other ethnic groups, such as Syrians, Chaldeans, the Assyrians and the Greeks, every year on the 24th of April. An opportunity not to forget the horrific massacres committed by the Ottomans, in which about 1.5 million Armenians died.
الحقيقة إنه إحنا هون ساكنين صح إنه بنتخالط مع الكل بس في إشي هون إنه وجع اللي ما بننساها اللي هو 1915 إنه المذبحة قديش هو إشي.
We live in Jerusalem and mingle with all the other communities. However, there is still an open wound that we cannot forget. It is a deep wound and cannot be explained with words. It flows in our veins, in our blood. At home, when we ask our mother about the pogrom, she tells us the story of our aunt who fled from Syria and died of thirst because she had been left without water.
ماتت لما كانوا إنه طالعين من سوريا إنه من دير زور وما كان في عندهم إنه مي فهي ماتت إنه من العطش. فلما أمي إنه أسمعها كيف بتحكي عن خالتها إنه كيف إنه ماتت وهي عم بتقول تشور يعني مي.